Well, hi guys, I know I haven't recorded in a bit, but it's not my fault. So, I'm gonna read fanfiction, and you probably already know what it's called. But the first chapter, I read the first chapter, and I thought it was pretty good. It's by Pegasus Rescue Brigade, and if you didn't already know the name, it became really popular all of a sudden. It's called Shipping and Handling, which has been somewhere else, I guess. I don't know. That's what the author said. So I'm gonna read it. It's gonna only be the first chapter today because I'm really low on time, and actually I'm supposed to be at school in 2 minutes. So let's do this. That is the last straw. The bulky brown Pegasus slammed his front hooves down on the desk so hard, Ditsy-Doo feared it would split in two. He positively glowered at the gray Pegasus, his face inches from hers. I'm sorry, boss, Ditsy mumbled, shrinking back a bit. It won't happen again? Her apology was phrased more like a question. Oh, right, sure, that's believable, the larger Pegasus snorted, twisting his black baseball cap haphazardly. I mean, what are the odds of Ditsy-Doo screwing up another delivery? I mean, that never happens. Ditsy winced at the harsh sarcasm in her superior's voice. Still, she managed to work up the nerve to ask the inevitable question. So, she began, trying her best to focus with both eyes on the angry pony in front of her. How much are you gonna dock my pay this time? The other Pegasus slapped a hoof to his forehead. Ditsy, what are you not getting here? He barked back. It's bigger than that this time. I mean, you have the lowest successful delivery rate in the history of Cloudsdale Mail and Freight. You're constantly losing letters or delivering them to the wrong locations. Your sense of direction is so bad it takes 5 times as long for you to get anywhere it would for any regular Pegasus. Heck, you're even a hazard to pedestrians sometimes. You're lucky that Purple Unicorn didn't sue us that one day we were delivering the piano and all that other junk. Ditsy winced at the memory, and sunk even lower in front of her furious boss. Well, what do you want me to do, sir? She squeaked. I'm trying my best. Then your best isn't good enough for this company, the stallion roared. Ditsy groaned and slumped fully to the floor, covering her head with her hooves as if she feared being struck. Seeing that he had taken verbal abuse a bit too far, the larger Pegasus softened a bit and lowered his voice. Get up, Dits. I'm not gonna hurt you. Peering up with one large yellow eye, Ditsy hesitantly rose back up to hover at the height of her superior. Right now, the brown pony searched for the least harsh way to speak his mind. Ditsy, I know we kinda hired you on special considerations with your little disability and all, but in all honesty, you need to at least live up to the basic requirements and come with being a mailmare. He glanced a little sympathetically at the dejected gray Pegasus. I've given you a lot of second chances now, he continued, but I just don't think our reputation can take any more. So I think we're gonna have to let you go. What? Ditsy's crossed eyes went wide with panic. But I need this job. I mean, little Dinky can't take... Sorry. I've got little Dinky to take care of home. After her father, the accident, I'm the only one that she's got for support right now. The other pony hid his eyes beneath the brim of his hat. I know that, and that's why I've been so lenient with you before. But today was different. The larger pony's eyes turned angry again. It was a letter from the frickin' princess, Ditsy. That sort of thing needs to arrive at the correct location, and it needs to arrive on time. Her decree to solve the situation in Manhattan arrived 6 hours late, and by then the rioters had destroyed a lot of private property. Do you know who's gonna get charged for that, Ditsy? We are! Again, the boss made the attempt to control his anger. Now you see what I mean here? He grumbled a little more gently. I gotta do what I gotta do. Cloudsdale Mail and Freight needs to conserve what little reputation it has left. Believe me, if I don't fire you now, they're gonna be all over about it. It's pretty much out of my hooves. Ditsy opened her mouth to respond, but couldn't manage to say anything. Her head swam with unfortunate memories, accidents, and errors that could have been avoided by a more professional pony, had they have been given the job. Defeated, she just looked sadly at her superior, and then floated over to collect her things. Hey, if it helps at all, the brown Pegasus mentioned, I won't dock anything from your last paycheck. In fact, I'll even throw a little goodbye bonus for you, you know, a dozen extra bits or so. Thank you, sir, Ditzy tried to smile, but her mood was betrayed by the tears welling up in her eyes. Have a good afternoon. Aww, that's pretty damn sad. Ah. With a final sigh, she made for the door, bumping into the door frame on her first attempt to exit. Lousy depth perception, she grumbled as she flew into the open air of Cloudsdale. The bright, beautiful day in the aerial city contrasted with the aura of gloom surrounded by the gray Pegasus. A few other Pegasi watched in concern as she fluttered haphazardly by, grumbling to herself. I can't believe this, she moaned aloud as she descended from the Pegasus capital toward her home on the ground. So I get lost a couple of times, and bam, I'm out the door. She thought about that. Well, more like a couple times a week, actually. She brought her fur hoops to her face, rubbing her misaligned eyes. It's these blasted eyes, she yelled to no one in particular. I can't help if my directional judgment and depth perception and face recognition and reading skills and all those other things that are so poor. I think I can function pretty well for a Pegasus who can't see straight. Wiping the last of her tears from her face, the dejected Pegasus flew home, thinking ahead of the grim task of searching through help wanted section of today's newspaper. Mom! Mom! Dinky Doo burst through the door of the cottage, brandishing a colorful paper in her horn's magic as she scurried inside. Look what I made in school today. Ditsy looked up from the newspaper she was struggling to read, to smile at an eager filly. Dinky proudly levitated her prize in front of her mother's face, holding it at an angle that she had learned made it easiest for her mother to. That's fudged up. That's messed up. Ditsy gazed at the filly's crude but colorful drawing. In the background, there was a small building that was identifiable as their cottage, with various flowers growing around it. In the foreground stood two ponies, a larger Pegasus and a smaller unicorn, both colored in shades of gray. The drawing wasn't exactly detailed, but Ditsy could still see it was a picture of Ditsy and herself. The sky behind them was bright blue, adorned with rainbow, which was colored nicely. Despite the fact that the colors were in the wrong order, the little filly must have spent all day making the picture look just right. That's so cute. Aw. That's a very nice drawing, Dinky, Ditsy said as lightheartedly as she could. But Dinky retrieved the paper, smiling at her success. But then her smile faded when she looked at her mom again. Mom, is something wrong? Ditsy bristled. Her mind worked furiously to create a convincing lie so that Dinky wouldn't be concerned. Just a little problem I ran into this morning, the Pegasus responding, smiling at the filly. Nothing to worry about. Something went wrong at work again, didn't it, Dinky? Dinky continued, frowning. Dang, that unicorn could be smart for her own good sometimes. Well, Ditsy stammered, yeah, there was a little mishap, but it's really nothing to get worked up over. Dinky put her front hooves onto the couch, glancing at the newspaper before Ditsy could pull it away. A want ad, she asked, skeptically. That sounded terrible. Let me start that again. A want ads, she asked, skeptically. Oh, it still sounded terrible. I'm not going to go back for that, though. Mommy, you didn't lose your job, did you? Ditsy thought fast, not wanting to upset Dinky. I'm just thinking of switching jobs, that's all, she lied. Things are getting hectic at work. Yeah, oh. If Dinky suspected anything more was amiss, and she probably did, she didn't show it. The filly trotted up to her room to do her assignments for the evening. Ditsy sighed in relief as she went back to scouring the paper for any more jobs she was qualified for. One small ad in the corner of the page caught her eye. That's messed up. Equestria Speedy Shipping Service. Oh my god. Equestria Speedy Shipping Services. Equestria's #1 shipping service, looking for new employees. Previous experience preferred. Located just outside Ponyville. Please visit us to apply. That sounds perfect, Ditsy thought. I've shipped plenty of... man, I've read this thing. I just, didn't tell. Freight to every city in Equestria in the past. I think I could handle a job here, and the best part is, I'll have a clean slate with my new boss. Maybe I can even be a better mail mare this time. Grinning wildly, Ditzy hastily scribbled down the details for tomorrow and rose from her couch to go prepare dinner. Shoveling the reference of her muffin-based breakfast into her mouth as she flew, Ditzy arrived at the quiet streets of Ponyville, squinting at the address she had written. She flew through the streets looking for the location. It took longer It took longer than she thought to find the place. She'd been looking for a large, noticeable office or other glossy delivery building. Instead, she found herself at what looked like a slightly run-down old establishment, rammed between a long string of small businesses and an old warehouse. Ditzy suspected the warehouse was probably used as the storage building for the freight company. Ditzy checked the address number, and it matched the one she had